All right, for dividing decimals, you see right away that they tell you what we need to round to. Now, remember that if they're telling you what you need to round to, that's how many decimal places you want at the end. And when you're rounding, you're always looking one decimal place past how many you want. So you need one decimal place past where you are rounding. So if we look at this, what we're going to do is we are going to remember second one down and out, or the second one is the one that's on the outside. So we have 1.26 and we're dividing by 4.5. Now, we already did ones that had the decimal on the inside, and basically we just pop it up to the top. But what they didn't have was a decimal on the outside, and that's the problem. We don't want, or we can't have no decimal on the outside in the divisor. Okay, so if we don't want a decimal on the outside, what do? How do we change it? Well, we move this over one. Well, if we move it on the outside, we have to move it on the inside. So this gets moved and then it gets popped up. So basically our new, quote, new problem is 45 into 126. So again, using that trick when we're dividing by something large on the outside, we have 45, we have 90, we have 135, we have 180. We have 225, we have 270, and so forth. So let's see if we have enough to start. So 45 goes into 126 twice, and we get 90. And then we subtract, we get 6, 0, 12. Minus 9 is 3, and we get 36. So then we want to add a 0 and bring it down, because we want to round to the nearest tenth, which means we really need 2 decimal places, because right now 0.2 is what we basically want to end up with, but we would have to look one past that to know whether it's going to be a 2 or a 3. So I do have to keep going over here. I have 315, and then I have 360 actually. So I know that this is going to be, how many times does 45 go into 360? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's 360, and I subtract, and I get 0. Now, the 0.28, we wanted to round to the 10th, which means we're looking at this and we're saying, what is it doing? So it's 0.3, and that's my final answer. All right, so this next one, we have 0.424, and we're dividing it by 0.5 on the outside because this is the one that goes out. If we want to round to the nearest hundredth, we actually need 3 places because we want to end with 2. Okay, so we can't divide by 0.5, so we need to move it over here. And if I move it over 1, I have to move it over 1 over here. So I have, 4.24 instead of 0.424. So I say, how many times does 5 go into 4? None. How many times does 5 go into 42? 8. And it gives me 40. I get 2. I bring down the 4. 5 goes into 24 4 times, and it's 20. I bring down the 4, and I add 1 0 because I want to end up with that third decimal place for rounding purposes, and 5 goes into 48 times. So my answer is 0.848, not rounded, but I wanted to round to the nearest hundredth, which is the second, which means I'm looking at the third for the second. So this is going to be 0.85 because I round up. All right, so for this one, I have 3.834 on the inside. I have 2.13 on the outside. So I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to get rid of it on the outside, which means on the inside I also need to do that, and then I need to pop it up. I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, which means I need 2 places because I only want to end up with 1. And I might list some of these because, 213, they're bigger numbers. So 213, 426, 639. You're going to get 2, 5, 2. I lied. 2, 8, 8. All right, 852. If we add 213 to that, we get 1065. And then we add 213 to that, we get 7, 7, 12. I'm adding 3 on the end. Sorry, 1278. Just double checking my work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only 6, so I add 213 more, and I get 1491. I add 213 more, and I get 1703. No, 1278 plus 213 is 1491. Plus 213 is going to be 1704. I must have done the same thing I just did. And then plus 213 again is going to be 1917. And then if we were add again, we'd get 2130, and that's my 213 times 10. Okay, so now that I have that taken care of, I say to myself, 213 doesn't go into 3, doesn't go into 38, does go into 383, and that's just one time. And I get 213, and I subtract, and I get 0, 7, 1. Does not go into 170, so I bring down that 4, and 1704 is actually on my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I get 1704. I subtract, and I get 0. Now, I wanted to round to the nearest tenth, which means I need to look at the next one. If there's nothing else, you can add a 0. You can always add a 0, but that 0 is not going to change my rounding. So 1.80 is the same as 1.8. And I'm all done. All right, so for this one, we have 0.007 divided by 0.03. So I'm going to move this decimal twice, and I'm also going to move that decimal twice, which gives me really 0.7 in there, and I'm going to pop it up here. So 3 doesn't go into 0, 3 doesn't go into 0, 0, but 3 goes into 7 2 times. And I get 6, and I subtract, and I get 1. I'm going to put another 0 because I want 2 decimal places, which means I actually have to look at 3. And I get 10 when I pull that down. So I can say 3 goes into 10 3 times, and I get 9. And I get 1, and then I add another 0, and I bring it down. And notice what's happening. This is going to just keep repeating, right? On and on and on. But you can stop because you have 3 digits, and we wanted to round to 2. And this is why they would tell you that, because honestly, you could just keep dividing forever and it would never change. The pattern would continue because this is 2.33 repeating. Remember, we could put the line above, but since we want to round, we want to look at that 3, the second 3, and say, what does it do to the first 3? And what it does is just keeps it the same, and we get 0.23. All right, this last one, we have 0.04 divided by 0.076. I'm going to move this 3, and I'm going to move this 3. Now, when I move that 3, I actually have this kind of gap in it, or I have this hole. So I add a 0 there. So I say to myself, okay, 76. Does 76 go into 0? No. 4? No. 40? No. So I need to add another 0 after it. And I'm basically looking for how many times 76 goes into 400. So 76, if I add another 76 to that, I get 152. Plus another 76 is 228. Plus another 76 is 304. Plus another 76 is 380. Plus another 76 is 456. 532. 608. 684. And then 760, so I'm all done. So 76 goes into 400. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I get 380. And I get 0, 2, 20. I bring down another 0 for myself, and 76 goes into 200 twice. And again, we're looking for 3 decimal places, which actually means we need to look at the 4th. So we're going to be working for a while. 76 times 2 gets me 152. And when I subtract, I have to regroup, and I get 1, 10, but then I bring that to a 9, and I bring that over to a 10 because I have to carry all the way over. So I get 8, 4, 48. I add another 0 for 80, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. And that's 456. Carry or regroup 4, 2, and I need one more, so I bring down that again. 240 is 1, 2, 3, 228, and again I could keep going, but I don't really need to, because once I'm at 4, I know that I want to round to 3. So this is really important where you pay attention. If they're telling you what to round to, you stop when you get to that many places, or one past, as we've talked about. If they're not telling you, you have to keep going. If they don't tell you what to round to, you just keep going until it stops. So this becomes 0.526 because the 3 does not round the 6 up. All right, try some, get back to me, let me know how it goes, and I will see you soon.